Hi, and welcome to our virtual open house. My name is Phil Seamer. I'm the principal here at the Tinley Park campus of Southwest Chicago Christian Schools. I'm standing in our front hallway where we have our mission and vision statement on the wall. It says that we are a Christ-centered learning community intent on restoring God's world. And there's really three parts to that. We're Christ-centered. That means that we have Christ in our whole curriculum, not just in our Bible class. In history, as we learn about the small stories of history, we consider them within God's big story of redemption. In English, as we learn to read and write, we learn to do so in a loving manner so that we can be loving to our audience or to the authors that we're reading. In science, we learn about what scientists have done, we do what scientists do, and we also learn to be caretakers of God's creation. We are a learning community, and that means learning is really at the forefront. So our assessments and our testing and our assignments, our homework is not primarily to rank students, but for them to grow. So once we get into the middle school level, that means that we teach and we reteach and we test and we retest. So a middle school student who may do poorly on a quiz will have to retake that quiz because we prioritize learning. I think that's obvious at the younger grades, but we carry that through all the way to 8th grade. And finally, we are intent on restoring God's world. As Reformed Christians, we believe we're invited into God's work and that all callings are God ordained. So whether you're working in the ministry or working in the trades or in business, you are in a job where God has specifically placed you to do his work. And we're here at Southwest to train those students up to know how they can respond to God's call and invitation and to honor him with their kingdom skills. As I turn around the corner over here, we have our philosophy of education on the wall. And it says that Southwest Chicago Christian Schools emphasize the lordship of Jesus Christ over all of life and prepare students spiritually, socially, academically, and physically to serve society effectively and to glorify God by honoring him in all aspects of life. This is really the education that you get from the Reformed tradition. It's a holistic education, and we take that responsibility with parents to help children develop in the ways that they need to develop to honor and glorify God. It makes me think of an important quotation from a Reformed thinker, Abraham Kuyper, who said, "There is not one square inch in the whole domain of our human existence over which Christ, who is sovereign over all, does not cry mine." We're here to help students understand that it is all for God's glory and for his honor that we're invited into his work. I thank you so much for attending this webinar or for viewing it later. If you're attending now, you can ask questions through the chat feature. So please find that on the bottom of the screen and you can type your questions as you think of them and we will try to address those later. We're going to have a little time to hear from a couple of our teachers right now, and then after that I will give a little bit more of an explanation of who we are here at Southwest, and then we will address some frequently asked questions and then also any questions that have come up in the webinar. So thank you so much for coming to this virtual open house.
Hello, my name is Laura Van Statten, and I have been teaching here at Southwest Chicago Christian School for about 30 years, my entire career. I have seen many things change and evolve over those years, and I'm proud to say that I love learning right along with my students. When I first began teaching, we used textbooks, chalkboards, and primarily whole group teaching. The classroom teachers did it all. We taught gym, art, and all the regular subject areas without support from other teachers. I absolutely loved my job then. I loved the students and the challenge of bringing learning to them, and I knew that God had led me to the right career. Have things changed over the years? Definitely. Bring us to the present. where we now have the use of technology, computers, tablets, interactive whiteboards, and smartboards. These tools help us to engage students in their world, and as teachers, we can expose them to so many additional learning experiences. This is preparing students to use technology as a tool in their lives and learning, and for future careers and jobs as well. As teachers, we've seen the benefits of teaching in small groups and differentiating our teaching to fit the needs of individual students. We now have a multi-tiered system to support students in reading and math. This includes reaching those students who need additional help, as well as those who need to be challenged a bit more. We have additional staff members to support our work and offer their expertise. Academic support teachers, speech teachers, computer, art, music, and gym teachers. As a school, our administration takes the lead for the staff to educate and lead us in new and innovative teaching practices. We are working presently to become a responsive classroom school. This approach includes the staff being trained to have a student-centered, social and emotional approach to our students and to our teaching. We are also being introduced to project-based learning and STEM units. These learning ideals and curriculum help us as teachers to lead students in gaining knowledge and skills by working for an extended period of time to answer a question. Students work together to solve real-world problems. I am so appreciative to our administrative team for leading and challenging us to be better educators. With all of this change and learning for us as teachers, some things here have not changed. Southwest Chicago Christian School has always been a place where we love God and want to bring that love to His children. In first grade, we start every day with a morning meeting. We greet each other, learn about each other, what's going on in our lives, and try fun activities that get our bodies moving. These activities help build the community of first grade, but we don't stop there. We also work to build our community as believers. We spend time worshiping God together. We look at God's Word and apply God's stories of His people to our lives. One of the best times of our day is gathered around the piano singing praises to God. We end our morning meeting standing in a circle, holding hands, praying. What a privilege for me to do a job I absolutely love, and at the same time share God's love with these precious children. I'm amazed how God is working in my classroom and at Southwest Chicago Christian School.
Hi, my name is Tony Gabriels, and I am a teacher here at Southwest Chicago Christian School. I have been a teacher here for 15 years, and for the last 3 of those years, I've been able to see this school through the eyes of a parent as well. My wife and I have a second grader and a preschooler, and as parents, we're pretty picky about who we leave our kids with when we're not with them or when we can't be with them. And we also know that during the week, students or kids spend more awake hours at school than they do at home even. And it has made us very grateful as parents to have a place like Southwest Chicago Christian School to send our kids. I know it's often hard to drop off our kids not knowing maybe what's going to happen, but we know that they're in a place where they're safe, they're loved, the teachers love their calling, and they love the Lord. And we know that they're getting a high quality education as well. In addition to the high quality education, as part of that, our teachers work really hard to help our students see the world through the eyes of Christ and see the world as being pursuers of justice. We often want to protect our kids from hard times or difficulty or injustices. but we know that that's not what Jesus calls us to do. Micah 6:8 says that we are to act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly. And we work really hard in helping our kids see injustice in whether it's their own actions or the actions around them. It starts in the playground and in the classroom. We work alongside students and parents to help correct behavior, so we see when we are being unfair or when we are wrong. And we try to help our students learn how to be better at standing up for those who maybe don't feel like they have very much of a voice. It starts at school. And then we also, throughout the year, we do help out different ministries in the Chicagoland area that work with the homeless or different hurting communities, gathering supplies and teaching our students that we have been blessed and we are expected to give a lot. And it's exciting to see students come around these activities. Our own students too, or our own kids now too, that they get to see these things as well. And we try to focus on a global issue too, that we can help our students understand better what's going on in the world and how we can be helpers. All in all, I'm grateful to teach here. I'm grateful to be a parent of students here in this Christ-centered learning community that is intent on restoring God's world.
I'm standing here in our specials hallway. This hallway actually connects our preschool to fourth grade wing and our middle school wing. And students as young as preschool come in for specials classes. You can see the library behind me. We also have a computer lab over here, an academic support center where students can come if they need support so that they can reach those grade level standards for extra support in reading and in math. We also have a room for Spanish and an art room. Down the hallway, there's a music room. We have a gym for PE. And in addition to that, we have a multi-purpose room where we can do PE and other activities, a second gym, which is really a great thing for a school of our size. We have a lot of resources here. Right now, I'd like to take some time to address some of the frequently asked questions. So we will hear those, and different teachers and I will address those as they come up.
Okay, I have a couple of questions here. The first one is regarding testing requirements for admissions. We normally have that. Are we doing that this year, Mr. Seamer?
You're right. We normally do test all incoming students. Right now, we are waiving those tests if we have good records from the schools when students are applying. If there's anything that comes up in the application where we feel that it would be necessary for additional testing, we will figure that out. However, if academic records seem good, then we will be waiving testing at this point.
Okay, and what about uniforms? Can you tell me about the student uniforms or dress code?
We don't have required uniforms. However, we do have a dress code, and there are some specifics to that. They do change a little bit at different ages. I think the best thing to know is that if you're wearing clothes that are neat, clean, and modest, you're probably following the dress code.
Great. And I have a question for Mrs. Voss. At what grade level do students begin switching classes? Oops, hold on, I need to unmute you.
Thanks. So I teach fifth grade, and fifth grade is really where our students start working with multiple teachers. And that's kind of where we try to teach them organization as well, for keeping track of all their things and between lockers and desks and different classrooms. There are some cases, very few cases, where team teaching is done in the younger grades as well.
And this is a question for Mr. Otto. Can you introduce yourself and then also tell us about sports and what grade level those activities begin?
Yeah, my name is Mike Otto, and I'm a sixth grade homeroom teacher. I teach sixth grade math and science and Bible. As far as sports, Sixth through eighth graders are included in sports, and depending on the numbers of athletes on teams, fifth graders have even participated as well. Some of the sports include soccer and cross country and volleyball, basketball, and track.
Great. And Mr. Gabriels, can you tell us about the extracurriculars?
Yeah, so our middle school also has, in addition to sports, we also have fine arts where they can participate in drama or a play. That's usually produced in the spring. Our elementary has a musical that is put on by our music teacher, Misty Young, with the younger grades. The middle school also has the opportunity to participate in the praise team, which will help lead chapel and our worship times as a school. And in the middle school, or fifth through eighth grades, also have clubs that will vary from year to year, but we try to build in some club time into our day to just kind of differentiate what we do and add some fun things in for the kids that will help enhance their experience here.
Great. Mr. Seymour, can you tell us about what specials the school offers as part of the regular program?
Yes, so as I said before, in this hallway, we've got computers, we've got library, we've got Spanish and art. We also do have a band room. Band starts in fifth grade. Our music room in a different hallway. And then we have a gym for PE and a multi-purpose room that also uses PE, used for PE.
Okay. And one more question for Mrs. Van Stedham. Can you tell us what support services the school offers?
Yes, we have a multi-tiered system of support here at our school that all of us as classroom teachers can take advantage of. And what we can do is break our students into small groups, and then they can meet with some of our teachers in those small groups, extra teachers that we have, to either reinforce learning or to extend and challenge their learning a bit. And then the academic support system, academic support center is a part of that too, where students can go to get extra help in some of the reading or math areas. And then along with that, we also provide speech. We have a speech teacher, and then we have a school counselor as well.
Great, thank you. That's all I have as far as frequently asked questions, Mr. Seymour. Do you want me to go to the last video?
Yes, so we know it's really an important thing to feel welcomed when you come to a new community. And Mrs. Boss, who's here with us today, is also new to our community. She is a first-year teacher with us, though she was a teacher before. And we just have a little video from her so that you can know what our community is like and what it will be like for you to be welcomed and accepted into the Southwest family.
Hello to you all. Although I wish I could meet you in person, I thought it would be best to tell you about what it's like to be a new member in the Southwest Chicago Christian School community via video during this time. I recently, last summer, moved from the Grand Rapids, Michigan area to Tinley Park. And in doing so, I got the opportunity to teach at Southwest Chicago Christian. And I have just been honored and welcomed so well by the parents and students themselves too. This year I teach fifth grade Bible, math, and science. And I love getting to know my students and the joy that they bring me each and every day in my classroom. And it's just been fun to get to know them during this year. One moment that sticks out in my mind very clearly from this year would have to be my birthday. I have a very early September birthday, and it's right at the beginning of school, and by then students haven't had time to ask the question yet, Mrs. Boss, when is your birthday? And so I don't expect much from them yet at this point in time, no gifts or anything. But I was outside greeting students in the morning, and when we came back inside, I was touched. There was a gift on my desk from the class, and one of the students baked cupcakes for us all to enjoy during break time. And I was very touched by that students must have done a little bit of research and found out when that was, and I thought they could surprise me with that. And so I just felt very welcomed right away from very early on in the school year, just by the SCCS community, and that has always stuck with me. I can think of another time when I felt very welcomed by the community was our fall parent-teacher conferences. I love this time just to get to share with parents some of the things that I've seen in their child, some of their strengths, and what I've enjoyed about having them in my class. After our conference was over, almost every family asked how I was doing. They asked how my year is going, how's being married, how's owning a home, how is my transition to living in Illinois going. And I've just never felt more supported by a community such as this one. I just left smiling and very upbeat. And I felt God's presence in this school. I felt very cared for by the parents of these students. And I could tell that we were partnering together for their child's education and growth spiritually as well. I've been so blessed and amazed by the conversations I can have with these fifth graders during our learning. Our Bible curriculum allows us to spend some time looking at baptism and what that means for us, or what that will mean in our spiritual walk with God. And students shared their faith journeys very openly. They asked some really hard questions that I don't know the answers to, and we talked about what that looks like in our faith journeys. And they noticed things about their church traditions that they haven't noticed before. And that was just very eye-opening for me to have them talk about, and for them too, I think, to be open to the idea of noticing some of those things. We really worked on becoming followers of Christ during those discussions, and I know the students grew a lot from that. That's only one example of many. I can think of a lot. In science, we study the vast glory of space, and we become caretakers of creation when we look into that, and all of what can we do to help preserve some of those things. We try to become pursuers of justice when we answer the question, how can we provide fresh water to those in need? And just realizing that we need to look beyond ourselves and beyond our families into our communities. How can we help others, even with simple things like fresh water, and using some of those science ideas to answer that question and to help others. I've just felt very comfortable having discussions like these in my class, and I know the students have felt very open and honest to ask those hard questions and to share their thoughts. I felt very quickly welcomed, and I know you guys will as well, and I can't wait to welcome you next year or years down the road. It's just been a pleasure to be an educator here at SCCS, and I look forward to partnering with you as well. It really is a very special place to be.
So I just wanted to thank everyone for viewing and being with us today. If you have a need for more information, you're welcome to go to our website at swchristian.org. You can also send questions to us for the admissions team. It's admissions@swchristian.org for Mr. Siemer or any of the faculty. You're welcome to email him directly. It's psiemer, SIEMER, @swchristian.org. And if you're ready to apply, we would love to see your application come through. You can simply log into our website and go into the parent portal at swchristian.org. If you need a login account, please contact the admissions office by either sending us an email or filling out an inquiry form on the website. Thank you again. We look forward to meeting you in person.